He was just a kid when he first touched gold. Not in a museum. Not in a jewelry store. But deep in the frozen earth of Alaska, where most children wouldn't last a day. While other teenagers were figuring out their Instagram bio. Parker Schnabel was running a multi-million-dollar mining operation. And the crazy part? He didn't inherit it all handed on a silver platter. He fought for it. Bled for it. Lost people he loved for it. Today, Parker Schnabel is one of the wealthiest young miners in the world. But the road to that fortune, it's darker, messier, and more emotional than anything you've seen on TV. This is the untold story of how Parker Schnabel became rich beyond measure. And what it actually cost him. Parker Russell Schnabel was born on July 22, 1994 in Alaska. A place where winter doesn't ask permission. It just takes over. Population, about 2,000 people. The kind of town where everyone knows your name, your business, and what you had for breakfast. Parker's childhood wasn't like yours or mine. There were no video games waiting after school. No sleepovers where the biggest worry was staying up too late. For Parker, childhood meant one thing: the mine, his grandfather. John Schnabel was a legend in the gold mining community. Big Nugget Mine was his kingdom. And from the time Parker could walk, he was being groomed to take over. Imagine being 5 years old and your playground is heavy machinery, mud, and the constant roar of excavators. That was Parker's reality. While other kids were learning their ABCs, Parker was learning how to operate a loader. By the time he was 16, he wasn't just helping out. He was running the entire summer operation at Big Nugget Mine. 16. Running a mine. Let that sink in. His grandfather saw something in him. A hunger, a sharpness. A willingness to get dirty when everyone else wanted clean hands. John Schnabel wasn't just teaching Parker how to mine gold. He was teaching him how to survive, how to lead, how to make decisions when everything is on the line. And Parker soaked it all in like a sponge. But here's the thing about growing up that fast. You miss out on being a kid. You miss out on the mistakes, the friendships, the freedom to just exist without pressure. Parker didn't have that luxury. And whether he knew it or not, that would haunt him later. Then came the moment that changed everything. Parker was just 16 years old when he made a decision that would either make him a millionaire or destroy him completely. He walked away from college. Full ride. Engineering degree waiting for him. The safe path. The smart path. The path every parent dreams their kid will take. But Parker looked at that future and said no. He had a different plan. A terrifying, audacious, completely insane plan. He was going to take his college fund, all of it, and invest it into his own mining operation. We're talking about a teenager betting everything on dirt and dreams. His parents must have been losing their minds. But Parker wasn't reckless. He was calculated, cold, focused. He'd been training for this his entire life. And he believed in himself more than anyone else did. In 2010, Discovery Channel came knocking. They were developing a new show called Gold Rush, a reality series following real miners as they risked everything chasing gold in the Alaskan wilderness. Parker wasn't even supposed to be the star. He was just this kid working at his grandfather's mine, but the cameras loved him. Audiences loved him. Because Parker wasn't acting, he wasn't playing a character. He was the real deal. A teenage mining boss with more grit than men twice his age. And when the show exploded in popularity, Parker became a household name overnight. But fame doesn't pay the bills in gold mining. Gold does. And Parker knew that better than anyone. So when he turned 18, he did something that shocked everyone, including his own family. He asked his grandfather for permission to take over the Big Nugget Mine. Not assist. Not help. Take over. run the whole operation. His grandfather, the man who built that empire with his bare hands, looked at this 18-year-old kid and said yes. That season, Parker set a goal: 1,000 ounces of gold. For context, that's worth over $1 million. And he wasn't working with a massive crew or unlimited resources. He had a small team, aging equipment, and zero margin for error. The pressure was crushing. Every decision mattered. One wrong move and the whole operation could collapse. But Parker delivered. He didn't just hit his goal. He shattered it. And in doing so, he proved he wasn't just John Schnabel's grandson riding on legacy. He was a force of his own. The money started rolling in. But so did the costs. Gold mining isn't a romantic adventure. It's brutal. It's exhausting. It's a war against nature, machinery, and your own limits. Parker worked 18-hour days in freezing temperatures. He slept in a trailer, ate cold meals, missed holidays, birthdays, and every normal experience a young man should have. And the worst part? He did it all under the microscope of reality TV. Millions of people watching. His every move, judging, criticizing, waiting for him to fail. And sometimes he did fail. Equipment broke down. Crew members quit. Weather destroyed entire seasons of work. There were moments when Parker sat in that trailer, covered in mud, exhausted beyond belief, and wondered if it was worth it. If chasing gold was worth losing everything else. But quitting wasn't in his DNA, so he kept going. Season after season, digging deeper, risking more, pushing harder. Then came one of the hardest moments of Parker's life. In 2016, his grandfather John Schnabel passed away at the age of 96. The man who taught him everything. The man who believed in him when no one else did. The man whose legacy he was carrying on his shoulders. Gone. Parker was devastated. You could see it on the show. The weight of grief mixed with the pressure of continuing what his grandfather started. It wasn't just about gold anymore. It was about honor. About proving that John Schnabel's faith in him wasn't misplaced, so Parker made another bold move. He left Alaska, the place where he grew up, the place where his roots ran deep. He moved his entire operation to the Klondike region in Yukon, Canada, a gamble that could have ended in disaster. But Parker had done his research. He believed the Klondike held richer ground, bigger payouts, and the potential to take his operation to a level no one had seen before. And he was right. In his first season in the Klondike, Parker pulled in over 6,000 ounces of gold. That's roughly $10 million in gold. In one season, a 20-something-year-old was outmining veterans who'd been in the game for decades. The world took notice. Parker Schnabel wasn't just a TV personality. He wasn't just a miner. He was a mogul, a millionaire. A success story that seemed almost too good to be true. But behind the gold and the glory, Parker's personal life was falling apart. Relationships are hard when you're married to a mine. And Parker was, completely. He started dating Ashley Ewell, an Australian veterinary nurse he met during his time in Australia. She was different from his world. Warm, compassionate. Everything the cold, harsh mining life wasn't. For a while, it seemed like Ashley was exactly what Parker needed. Someone to balance the chaos. Someone to remind him there was life outside the mine. But Ashley wanted more than Parker could give. She wanted time, attention, a partner who wasn't constantly thinking about the next excavator repair or gold count. Parker tried. He really did. But the mine always came first. It had to. That's what he believed. That's what he'd been taught. And eventually, Ashley had enough. She left. Walked away from the relationship because she couldn't compete with Parker's obsession. Parker later admitted in interviews that losing Ashley was one of his biggest regrets, that maybe he'd sacrificed too much for gold. That maybe his grandfather's legacy came at the cost of his own happiness. It's a haunting realization. To achieve everything you've ever worked for and realize you're standing there alone. But Parker didn't slow down. He couldn't. The machine he'd built required constant feeding. More land, more equipment, more gold. He started investing in additional mining claims, expanding his operations, hiring bigger crews, buying million-dollar machines like they were toys. By his mid-20s, Parker Schnabel was operating one of the most successful independent mining companies in North America. His net worth skyrocketed. Estimates vary, but most sources put Parker's wealth somewhere between $10 and $15 million. Some say it's even higher when you factor in assets, equipment, and land holdings. For a guy who's barely 30, that's staggering. He owns massive excavators worth $500,000 each, wash plants that cost over $1 million, claims on land that hold untold amounts of gold, and he's still pulling in millions every season. Gold Rush pays him too. While exact figures aren't public, reality TV stars of his caliber reportedly earn anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 per episode. Over multiple seasons, that adds up fast. But here's the thing about Parker. He doesn't flaunt his wealth. He doesn't buy mansions or supercars or live some flashy Instagram lifestyle. He reinvests almost everything back into mining. Because for Parker, it's not about the money. It's about the chase, the challenge, the legacy. But fame brings scrutiny, and Parker has faced his share of controversy. Critics have accused him of being too hard on his crew, too demanding, too cold. There have been moments on the show where Parker's temper flares, where he pushes people past their limits, where he seems more machine than man. And fans have called him out for it. Said he's forgotten what it means to be human in the pursuit of gold. Parker's response: he doesn't apologize for his intensity. He knows what it takes to succeed in this industry. He knows that gold doesn't care about your feelings, that nature doesn't give second chances, and he expects his crew to match his work ethic. Is it fair? Maybe not, but it's effective. And in the brutal world of gold mining, results matter more than popularity. Then there's the question everyone asks. What's next for Parker Schnabel? He's already accomplished more than most miners do in a lifetime. He's wealthy, famous, successful by every metric. So why keep going? Why keep grinding in the dirt when you could retire and live comfortably forever? Because Parker isn't wired that way. He's said in interviews that he doesn't know what he'd do if he stopped mining. It's not just his job. It's his identity, his purpose, the thing that gives his life meaning. And maybe that's the saddest part of his story, that the thing that made him rich is also the thing that keeps him trapped. A golden cage of his own making. There have been whispers about Parker exploring other ventures, possibly starting his own mining company. Separate from Gold Rush, maybe investing in new technologies for more efficient gold extraction. He's even hinted at wanting to mine in other countries, places where the gold is richer and the challenges even greater. Because for Parker, comfort is the enemy. Comfort makes you soft. And he can't afford to be soft. Relationships remain complicated. After Ashley, Parker dated Tyler Mahoney, an Australian gold prospector and fellow miner. It seemed like a perfect match. Someone who understood the lifestyle. Someone who shared the passion. But that relationship also ended. The pattern is clear. Parker's first love is gold. And until he figures out how to balance that obsession with human connection, he's going to keep losing the people who matter. Does he regret it? Probably. Does it keep him up at night? Maybe. But every morning, Parker wakes up and goes back to the mine. Because that's what he knows. That's what he's good at. And in a strange way, the mine never judges him, never leaves him. never asks for more than he can give. It's the one relationship in his life that's consistent, reliable, even if it's slowly consuming him. So how rich is Parker Schnabel? In dollars, somewhere north of 10 million. In gold, countless ounces scattered across multiple mining operations. In assets, enough heavy machinery and land to make most people's heads spin. But if you measure wealth differently, the answer gets complicated. Because Parker has sacrificed relationships, normalcy, and arguably his youth for this fortune. He's rich in ways that show up on a balance sheet, but poor in ways that never will. And maybe that's the real story here. Parker Schnabel is proof that you can have everything and nothing at the same time. That success doesn't guarantee happiness. That legacy can be both a blessing and a curse. He's living the dream his grandfather envisioned for him. But somewhere along the way, he forgot to dream his own dreams. Parker's story isn't over. He's still young, still hungry, still chasing that next big claim. And who knows? Maybe one day he'll find balance. Maybe he'll figure out how to be a world-class miner and a complete human being. Maybe he'll look back on these years and realize the real gold was never in the ground. It was in the moments he missed while he was digging for it. Or maybe he'll keep mining until there's nothing left to find. Until his body gives out. Until the obsession finally consumes him completely. Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Parker Schnabel is one of the richest young miners in the world. And he earned every ounce of that wealth through blood, sweat, tears, and more sacrifice than most of us could ever imagine. The question isn't how rich he is. The question is, what did it cost him to get there? And whether, in the end, it was worth it. If Parker's story moved you, inspired you, or made you think differently about success, hit that like button and subscribe to Luminoir for more deep dives into the lives of people who've risked it all. Drop a comment and tell us, would you trade everything for fortune? Or is there something more valuable than gold